Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition for tonight headlines. We have the head of state set new terms of reference for our diplomat. Djibouti celebrates the World Children's Day. For the international scene, WHO fears 700,000 more deaths in Europe by spring COVID-19. Welcome to our newsroom. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, has defined new approaches and action for our diplomacy. The head of state made this clarification on Wednesday at the Palace of the Republic during an audience with a group of Djibouti ambassadors assigned to the new chancelleries. During this meeting, President Guelleh first explained the principles behind the proposed refocusing of our diplomatic actions. He cited the geostrategic reconfigurations of the regional and international order as the reason for redefining the objectives and practices to which our foreign policy must enhance force subscribe. In this regard, he indicated that our country could not allow itself the luxury of not adapting its objectives and priority to the principles of the profound diplomatic changes underway in the regions and in the rest of the world. The three ambassadors received on Wednesday by the President of the Republic and on their way to take the head of Djibouti's chancelleries in brotherly and friendly countries are composed of seasoned diplomats who have all made brilliant careers. They are His Excellency Mohamed Duhour Hersi, appointed ambassador to the Republic of Djibouti to Kingdom of Morocco, and he was until now our ambassador to the Arab Republic of Egypt. His Excellency Isa Abdullahi Assawe, appointed ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti to the Republic of India. He was until now the first counselor of our embassy to the Russian Federation. His Excellency Mohammed Burhan Ali, appointed ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti to the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire. He was until now the first counselor of our embassy to the Kingdom of Belgium. The Minister of Foreign Affairs for International Cooperation, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, naturally took part in this event. Under the high patronage of the Prime Minister, His Excellency Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, the Minister of Women and Family, in collaboration with the National Union of Djiboutian Women with the support of UNICEF, is celebrating Universal Children's Day this Wednesday in the Great Hall of the People's Palace. After a week-reaching activity, indeed, the Minister of Women and Family and the UNFD have from 16 to 25 November 2021 organized activities that aimed to raise awareness of the importance of preserving the right of the child, who is a safe human capital. This year, with a focus on violence against children, video and spots of children expressing their rights were produced and broadcasted for the occasions in collaboration with the development partners. Various workshops aimed at informing and raising awareness on the best interests of the child and bringing together personalities, parliamentarian and civil society were also organized by the Minister of Women and Family and UNFD in collaboration with the national and international technical partners such as UNICEF. The leading partners on children's rights. The ceremony on Wednesday, 24 November 2021, which took place at the People's Palace under the patronage of the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, demonstrated the importance that our country attaches to the issue of children at the highest level. Members of the government and representatives of international organizations and the diplomatic corps of the various countries were also present. Universal Children's Day is a unique opportunity for all of us to raise awareness of children's rights, to promote and highlight them, but also to turn this date into concrete actions for children everywhere. And during the official speeches, the personalities who took the microphone insisted that preserving and promoting children's rights is not an option, but a necessity for a better world for every child. The Minister of Women and Family, Muna Usman Aden, said for her part, on behalf of myself and all, I would like to thank Prime Minister for honoring us with his presence and to praise the presence of all of you at our meeting, which we have dedicated to children and their current problems as well as to their future prospects. Since a presidential decree has been institutionalized, our meeting today and the workshop that were organized for it, which dealt in particular with the importance of prenatal consultations and illicit child labor as well as violence against children, was an opportunity to renew the permanent interests given by the Djiboutian states to the promotion of children. I do not need to remind here the solicitude with the President of the Republic, His Excellency of Ismail Omar Guelleh, surrounds the children of the country because it constitutes the priority of our development, and that those with their optimal cognitive physical development, that those will build the future of the human capital of Djibouti, without forgetting the tireless efforts of the First Lady and President of the UNFD for the promotion of the right, the accompaniment and the guard of the children abandoned within the orphanage. For his part, Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed has indicated in his official speech that, as always, it is with great pleasure that I celebrate with you each year the National Day of the Child, which is held in the wake of the International Day of Child set by the United Nations on 20 November each year, and whose theme is entitled Better Futures for Every Child. This day is an opportunity moment for us to question ourselves on the path we have traveled and the future prospects and visions of our commitment to the Djiboutian child. We are going to approach it especially under an aspect of development of what we have achieved and the challenges that we intend to take up to improve the situations of children in our country by ratifying the conventions on the rights of the child in 1991. The Djiboutian government committed itself to promoting and protecting the rights of the child based on the premise that investing in all children help to strengthen equity and social cohesion and to promote an inclusive society that provides this opportunity for all to participate in economic and social development. On the sidelines of the World Children's Day celebration, a panel discussion was held between members of the government led by the Prime Minister and the children. The children were able to ask different questions to the member of the government, and at the end of the discussions, they put forward the recommendations. Finally, the ceremony of the celebration of the World Day of the Child ended with the handing over of gifts to all the winners and the participants by the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed and the Minister of Women and Family Muna Usman Aden and the member of the government. The President of the National Assembly, His Excellency Mohammed Ali Hamad, received today a courtesy visit from the new ambassador of the Republic of Cuba, recently accredited to Djibouti, Marcelo de la Caridad Caballero. The meeting took place in the Parliament Main Hall in the presence of the Chief of Staff of the President of the National Assembly, Mr. Idris Mohamed Ahmed. The two men discussed the state of friendship and cooperation relations between the countries, as well as ways and means to further strengthen them. The exchanges also focused on cooperation between the parliamentary institutions of the two countries. During the meeting, President Ahmed, who first welcomed the Cuban diplomat, praised the existing cooperation ties between Djibouti and Havana, especially in the areas of health, education, and sports. The President of Parliament expressed to the new ambassador the full availability of the National Assembly in the accomplishment of his diplomatic mission in our country. This morning of Wednesday, November 24, 2021, the Hotel Djibouti Palace Kempinski hosted an important meeting for defense attaché of the Djiboutian Armed Forces, the first of its kind, initiated by the director of the Directorate General of International Relations, Colonel Ibrahim Zakaria Sheikh. This meeting of common and paramount interest was chaired by His Excellency Hassan Omar Mohammed Burhan, Minister of Defense in charge of relations with Parliament. Upon his arrival, the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with Parliament, Hassan Omar Mohammed, was welcomed by the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, and Brigadier General Tahir Ali Mohammed, the Chief of the Defense Staff, the Director of the Directorate General of International Relations, Lieutenant Colonel Ibrahim Zakaria Sheikh, the Minister of Defense Hassan Omar Mohammed, accompanied by the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, reviewed it together the picket of honors erected in front of the meeting room. Before entering the meeting room, the Minister of Defense had a side meeting with the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, General Tahir Ali Mohammed, and the Chief of the Defense Staff, and Colonel Major Muhammad Qayad Gele, for a debriefing of this meeting for Defense Attaché of the Djiboutian Armed Forces, the first of its kind. After this short debriefing, the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with Parliament, by the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, and the Director of the General. The objective of this meeting is to establish a roadmap for our defense attaché accredited in friendly country in line with the intentions of the military command. The importance of this meeting lies in its ability to enable the successful establishment of the promising and effective. For his part, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim has indicated that the Chief of Staff, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, has indicated in his speech on this occasion, stressed the importance of the meeting for defense attaché of the Djiboutian Armed Forces, the first of its kind. I would like, first of all, in the name of the glorious armies, the Almighty, to have granted us the blessing of peace and instability in our country, to have allowed us this gathering here at the Kempinski Hotel. We are of the worrying event that are taking place at this very moment in our whole regions, in particular in our friendly and neighboring countries, which is Ethiopia. We are aware of the disturbing event taking place at this moment in our regions. In this requires absolute vigilance of our part, because our responsibility as a defense and security forces, guarantor of the country's sovereignty, and to face this threat. I insist once again on our cohesion, respect for the hierarchy, and the consolidations of our national unity. Continuing his speech, the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, urged the defense attaché and of the Djiboutian Armed Forces to apply this new roadmap that will undoubtedly allow the proper conduct of our cooperation relations with the friendly countries in order to harmonize the actions carried out by the different offices of the General Staff for a better coordination of the cooperation program with the friendly country. The Arab Department and the direction of the instructions were integrated into the general directions of the international relations. In this same context, and following the example of the armies, it is indispensable that we, attaché of defense closer to our embassy abroad, is strictly related to the general directions of international relations. This is the reason why the offices of the defense attaché have been created in the new organizational chart. The objective of this meeting are to transmit to you the new orientations of the working procedures in order to start together on the new basis. In taking the floor, the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with Parliament, Hassan Omar Mohammed, has insisted on the role and missions of the defense attaché of the Djiboutian Armed Forces. He said, "It is a pleasure for me to share this meeting, bringing together our defense attaché appointed to our embassies abroad. The organization of such a meeting is important insofar as it will allow in the future to benefit of promising and effective military cooperation relationship with the friendly countries." I have just followed with great intentions the word of the General of the Armed Forces and the presentation made by the Director of the DGAA, and we are all aware of what is currently happening in the world, and in particular in our region, where the security situation is deteriorating more and more. We can consider that we are the only countries in the regions which currently lives in peace. After the usual greetings, the Colonel Ibrahim Zakaria, Sheikh, Director of the Directorate General of the International Relations, gave an in-depth presentation to the audience of the history of his department, its functioning, and its future prospect based on the directive of the military command. Indeed, in a world, the global balance has been altered. The political ambitions of His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, the President of the Republic, Head of Government, and Supreme Commanders of the Armed Forces, and the arrival of the major nations on the national soil have allowed Djibouti a visibility on the international level. Thus, it was an essential to create a tool for monitoring international issues at the level of the Armed Forces General Staff, hence the creation of the Directorate of International Relations. The installation of numerous foreign bases has turned Djibouti from a geographical dwarf into the political giant coveted by the whole world. Thus, the Directorate of the International create.
يا رب العالمين أسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة الدائمة في الدين والدنيا والآخرة. اللهم اجعل هذا البلد بلدا آمنا رخاء مؤمنا يا رب العالمين. اللهم احفظ حدودنا، اللهم احفظ جنودنا يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة في الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار يا أرحم الراحمين. آمين آمين. صلوا على محمد سبحان ربك.
The Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed Roble Abdille, chaired a closing session of the fourth IGAD COVID-19 Project Committee today, organized by the IGAD Health and Development Department. This three-day meeting, which is of paramount importance, was enhanced by the massive participation of the delegation from IGAD member countries and partners. The meeting is aimed at coordinating the actions of member countries, sharing experiences, and setting up a digital data platforms, as well as other important issues. The participants in these three meetings discussed the progress of the project for all components IGAD, the establishment of a joint actions on capacity buildings and testing laboratories for the COVID-19 studies, and comments from the different ministries, and engaged in reflections on implementation activity at the national level. For his part, the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed Roble, said for his part the issue of COVID-19 for 2.5 years now has been holding the international community in suspense by its magnitude, by its impact on the level, but also socio-economic, and Djibouti as the rest of IGAD countries fight every day against this pandemic. Although my country has a rather particular epidemiological profile that we do not have any cases of it. We have only had 3 small waves of the COVID-19 pandemic. We have not had many deaths, but we remain vigilant to deal with this COVID-19 pandemic, which hinders and can hamper the development of our respective country. The Minister of Environment, His Excellency Mohammed Abdul Qadir Musa Halam, chaired on Tuesday, November 24, the meeting of the sixth steering committee of the Great Green Wall Initiative at the People's Palace. This meeting was also attended by the resident coordinator of the United Nations system, the representative of the African Union Commission, the representative of the United Nations Agency, as well as representatives of the national authorities of the Great Green Wall Initiative. The objective of this sixth regional steering committee is to bring together all member states and key implementing partners to take stock of the last 2 years and chart the way forward for the next few years. It should be noted that the Great Green Wall is the African Union's flagship initiative to combat the effects of climate change and desertification in Africa. For his part, the Minister of Environment, His Excellency Mohamed Abdul Qadir Musa Hilem, said that for his part that the initiative aims to transform the lives of millions of people by creating a mosaic of green and productive ecosystems in North Africa, the Sahel and the Horn of Africa. It is in a mission within the framework of the big project Green Wall initiated by the head of the state of the African state, and which touches the whole of the countries of the Sahara. It is projected through this project to reforest and to undertake the reforestation to fight against the desertification and the erosions of the ground. The Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, Younis Ali Gedi, received this morning in his office a delegation from the World Bank, which is financing the geothermal pilot project. The objective of the meeting was to reduce the cost of energy bill in the countries, and by using new energy, particularly natural gas. The delegation of the World Bank discussed the various cooperation between the Djibouti Office of Geothermal Energy and the World Bank. They also clarified the requirements in terms of granting loans that could finance the advancement of the geothermal project. The Minister of Energy thanked the World Bank for the constant support it gives to the realizations of certain projects in our country. The Minister of Decentralization, His Excellency Qasim Haroun Ali, accompanied by a strong delegation composed of 5 presidents of the interior regions, went to the French capital in Paris from 20 to 27 November 2021 as part of a study tours in France. The objective of the visit was to strengthen the link, create decentralized cooperation and partnership with local authorities, examine working methods, and of course mobilize funds to support decentralization in Djibouti. With a full agenda of meeting, the Minister and his delegation were first welcomed by the Djibouti ambassador in Paris, Ayed Mousad, who introduced them at the AFD headquarters, received in the boardroom of AFD, the most important room by the director of the operations of the Agence France for Development Group, Mr. Jean-Pierre Marcelli, and by a panel of the AFD officials, including Mr. Emmanuel Babin-Tian, and AFD countries managers, Ms. Aslion Project, and team managers. The ministerial delegation took part in a roundtable discussions alongside senior AFD officials. As part of the tree planting program launched by the President of the Republic, an important ceremony was held to award a certificate to young people from the neighborhood councils in order to fight against global warming. The Mayor of Djibouti City, Fatma Awali Osman, with the support of the Ministry of Agriculture, is organizing training courses for tree plantings and has granted gardening tools. The ceremony was chaired by the Secretary General of the Town Hall, Mahmoud Boghore, in collaboration with the representative of the Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Mukhtar Mohammed Waberi. This important ceremony was attended by the Mayor's technical advisor, the Mayor's social affairs officer, elected officials, and members of the neighborhood councils. The Union of the Francophone Press of Djibouti launched yesterday a training workshop for Djiboutian journalists on physical and online safety in collaboration with the UNESCO, The launching ceremony of this workshop was attended by the Secretary General of the UNESCO Commissioners in Djibouti, Mohamed Moussa Yabe, and the President of the Union of the Djiboutian Francophone Press, Kennedy Ibrahim Hussein. This training workshop is led by Bilal Musa Ali, expert on cybersecurity and CEO of the company Cybersan, which is the first and only company in Djibouti specializing in the field of cybersecurity. In a speech delivered on this occasion, the president of the UPF Djibouti, Kennedy Ibrahim Hussein, said that this training aims to equip Djiboutian journalists and media institutions on the safety mechanisms, physical and online, in accordance with the UN action plans for the safety of journalists. He also recalled that since the internet has become a source of insecurity, journalists must learn to control their safety on the internet and those of their sources, both in daily lives and in hostile environments. For his part, the Secretary General of the UNESCO Commission in Djibouti, Mohamed Moussa Yabe, recalled that UNESCO attaches particular importance to the safety of journalists and contributes enormously to training in this regard because many journalists in the world are exposed to insecurity. While sometimes these conditions can be avoided, Djibouti journalists must be prepared for such eventualities, he said. During the training, journalists will learn how to conduct a safety assessment before an important mission and travel to hostile terrain. Now the risks of the web anticipate threats, now the attack techniques, malware, malicious software, basic principles and computer security and cryptography. In the continuity of the celebration of the National Week of Disability, the National Agency for Persons with Disability organized on 24/11/2021 in partnership with the Ministry of Health and the MENFOP a training for trainers on early diagnosis being signed on precursors and of disability in children at the Center for the trainings at CFF Omar Gelle Ahmed. This is a two-day training courses that will be given by health specialists from 24 to 25 for about 20 teachers. This training will enable professionals to detect the first signs and to set up support or personalized interventions for children. These initiatives respond to the government's concern to improve the living environment of children with special needs and to facilitate their social integration. The region of Tajora hosted this Friday, December 2021, the first stage of the National Citizen Caravan of Young People organized by the Movement of Youth on the One and Indivisible. The ceremony took place at the Maltese Hotel and the association One and Indivisible Youth Movement, but also called on young people to listen to the caravanners and assimilate the theme that will be developed, placed under the theme volunteering, civic mindedness, patriotism, citizenship, and preservation of social cohesion. The meeting brought together hundreds of young people to talk about citizenship, patriotism, civic mindedness, volunteering, and the preservation of social cohesion. During the ceremony, the audience sang the national anthems, followed by a conference debate and messages from the caravanners. The objective is to bring young people together by establishing a civic dialogue with the aim of strengthening social cohesion and the spirit of volunteerism to promote citizenship and to awaken the patriotism of young people. Mr. Ahmed Mogola gave the main purpose of the caravan and launched a message to the Tajora youth. The best things a nation has it is youth, responsible citizens and Republican youth united and welded for the reinforcement of voluntary and civic acts, but which is able to think about the harmonious development of its locality with its elders. It is to you, the youth of Tajora, that the regions of Tajora belong. Take example for young people like you who work for the development of their locality and be at the services of your regions at the present. This is why you are at the heart of this awareness-raising caravan. To close up this edition for the international scene, COVID-19, who fears 700,000 more deaths in Europe by spring, the World Health Organization is sounding the alarms on the health situation in Europe. In a statement, they who expressed concern about the grip of the COVID-19 pandemic in Europe, estimating that it could cause an additional 700,000 deaths in the continent by spring 2022. If confirmed, this would bring the total numbers of deaths to 2.2 million. Currently, more than 1.5 million people have died from COVID-19 in the region, who says the increase in cases is due to the combinations of the prevalence of highly contagious Delta variant, insufficient vaccination coverage, and the relaxations of the anti-COVID-19 measures. According to its data, pandemic-related deaths have more than doubled since the end of September, from 2,100 per day and to nearly 4,200 daily. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.